Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah, sallallahu sallam wa barak ala nabi. First question says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh. My question is, what is the rule on bringing children to the masjid? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I would say bringing children to the masjid is obligatory. It's mandatory. It's wajib, fard. You have to bring your children to the masjid. Because you have to teach your children Islam. And you have to raise your children as Muslims. And your children owe a good Islamic tarbiyah from you. And what place could be better for tarbiyah than the house of Allah Azza wa Jal? The Prophet ﷺ, he says, إِنَّ أَحَبَّ الْبِقَاءِ إِلَى اللَّهِ مَسَاجِدُهَا. He says, the most beloved places to Allah Azza wa Jal are the masjids. And Allah says, قُوا أَنفُسَكُمْ وَأَهْلِيكُمْ نَارًا. Protect yourselves and your family from the fire of hell. So therefore, the general rule, I would say, is mandatory. That doesn't mean every salat. No one is saying that. Talking about the technical fiqh issue of jama'ah. No. But we're talking about the concept of teaching your children and showing your children Islam. Living and practicing Islam. And them fraternizing themselves and familiarizing themselves with other Muslim youth, etc. That's what we mean. Children are allowed to come into the masjid. There's no authentic hadith that prevents children from coming to the masjid. There are weak hadith about that. Very weak hadith. However, when a child is brought to the masjid, then the proper etiquettes should be adhered to. Cleanliness. No physical filth upon them. Their dress, their attire. Basics of the masjid. A 2-year-old is not going to stand still like a grown man. But you can't just let the 2-year-old run wild, go crazy. You have to try. You have to, because the 2-year-old is not going to be 2 years old forever. They're going to be 3 and 4 and 5. You have to groom them gradually and progressively. So that's the general answer. It's permissible. And there were children in the masjid during the time of the Prophet ﷺ. As far as the specifics, standing in the rows, does a young girl have to wear khimar, etc. We'll get into all of that. Can a young boy go on the sister's side and vice versa? That's the other fiqh discussion. That's the general answer. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Next question says, why was the Prophet Yunus named after his mother and not father? I don't know. Can we authentically trace back that he was named after his mother and not his father? Or is that just mentioned in a story from the previous generations in the books of tafsir? Allahu alam. There are different reasons why a man may be named after his mother or not his father, etc. Allahu alam. Next question says, I hope you're well, bi'idhnillah. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, Sheikh. I hope you're well, bi'idhnillah ta'ala. The Prophet ﷺ, he said, this Quran is the banquet of Allah. Learn as much as you can from his banquet. This Quran is the rope of Allah, and it is the clear light and the effective and beneficial healing. It is protection for the one who clings to it and a rescue for the one who follows it. It is not crooked, so put things straight. It does not deviate so as to be blamed. Its wonders do not cease. It does not wear out with the much repetition, so recite it, for Allah will reward you for your recitation of every letter. Also, Abdullah ibn Mas'ud said, this Quran is the banquet of Allah. Whoever enters it is safe. Source Hakim number 1555. Darimi Sahih. I want to know 2 things, please. What is the authenticity of this hadith? It says Sahih, but I can't seem to find it. And who is a Hakim? Is he one of the compilers of hadith? And if so, why isn't this compilation there with Bukhari, Tirmidhi, and others? May Allah Azza wa Jalla elevate your status in this dunya and the akhirah. Ameen. Jazakallah khairan. Barakallahu feek. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. No, the hadith is not sahih, even though the general meaning of it is wonderful. The general meaning of it is wonderful. But it's not authentically traced back to the Prophet ﷺ. The part of the hadith that says that the Quran is the banquet of Allah is the statement of Ibn Mas'ud radiallahu anhu, whether it's the beginning clip or the last clip. But the Prophet ﷺ never said those words, nor the other long part, which is well known from the narration of Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu. So the hadith is not sahih, even though some of its meaning, or its meaning as a whole, is wonderful. Not just correct, but wonderful. As far as who is al-Hakim, then yes, he is a compiler of hadiths. just like Imam al-Bukhari and Tirmidhi. However, he lived and died a little bit after Imam al-Bukhari, rahimahullah. Bukhari and Tirmidhi were of the 3rd century. Al-Hakam died 405 in the beginning of the 5th century, but he lived his life, most of it, during the 4th century. Just why is he up there with Bukhari and Tirmidhi? For some reasons. Whether it's time, chronological timeline, etc., level of authenticity, the 6 mother books of hadith, etc. With regards to anyone who wishes to learn about Hakim and his book Al-Mustadrak, please go back to our series on the compilation of the Sunnah. Wallahu a'lam. Next question says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. I have another question, please. Is it better to do your adhkar or read Quran after the Fajr Salah? And is anything wrong with doing the adhkar after Shuruq or after Maghrib has come in? Jazakallahu khairan wa barakallahu feek. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh wa feek barakallah. Do both, inshallah. Read the Quran, which is the best dhikr, as Ibn Qayyim has said, and also make the adhkar as well. Bi-idhnillahi ta'ala. According to your time and according to your schedule and according to what's most pleasing and most pleasurable to you. But you have to do a combination of both. Bi-idhnillahi azza wa jal. As far as making the adhkar when the sun rises and things like this, mention Allah whenever you can, however you can, no matter what situation you're in. But the specific adhkar that have been mentioned in specific times, one should stick to those specific times. Wallahu ta'ala alam. Next question says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah reward you well in this life and the next. I've been having my period for about 2.5 weeks now. The first week was brownish, reddish blood clots with little flowing blood. The second week is regular menstrual smell, amount, color, etc. cycle. I was wondering if I'm still in my period or is this considered something else? I felt worried for not being able to pray for so long. Jazakallahu khairan. Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. May Allah reward you and bless you as well. Many of the scholars of Islam, if not most of them, they hold the view that the longest that a woman can have her menstruation is for 15 days. Many of them, not necessarily all of them, they hold the view that the longest a mens can be is for 15 days. And anything after 15 days is irregular. It is the blood of isti'adah. So based off of that view of those ulama, if it's not hayd but it's istihada, it's irregular blood, then she takes the ruling of a woman who has irregular menstruation, such as washing herself in the appropriate manner, making wudu, combining salats, dhuhr and asr, maghrib, isha, going to the masjid, having intercourse with her husband, fasting the month of Ramadan, etc. Wallahu ta'ala alam, that's in brief. Question 6. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, ya ustad. I pray that this question meets you and your family in the best of health and highest level of iman. Ameen. What do you do in a situation when your mom wants you to travel with her since you traveled together before, but you tell her it's better to go with your younger bro, as she did last trip, and she gets upset with you? In the end, she ends up buying the tickets against your will because she doesn't want you to go alone since you have the visa for one of the locations already. Question, wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you very much, and I hope the same as well for yourself. It's a bit confusing to me, whereas it says, what do you do in a situation when your mom wants you to travel with her? Alright? Then it says, in the end, she ends up buying the tickets against your will because she doesn't want you to go alone. But then the younger brother is mentioned. So does the mother want her to travel just with her, 2 women, by yourself, or with the younger brother? It's not really that clear. It's a bit confusing. Maybe it's from my poor understanding and lack of intelligence. However, at the end of the day, if a woman traveled with just her mother, then a woman is not a mahram for a woman. Okay, we've explained the ruling of a woman traveling without a mahram on an airplane. I don't know if that's what's meant here, maybe a train or a car, but it says here a ticket. Perhaps it's talking about an actual airplane. What do scholars of Islam say about a woman traveling when it's safe or relatively safe, etc. on Mufti Q&A? So refer back to that, being the nice subhanahu wa ta'ala, for lack of time. What's important is if a woman traveled without a mahram before with her mother, and her mother wants to do the same, and the sister has now become educated and she wants to follow the sunnah and not travel without a mahram, then she has to advise her mother, but at the same time she has to be patient, because you did something that was not necessarily the best or incorrect in the past, Everyone doesn't just change overnight like you, so you have to be patient upon that. You have to be patient upon that. Wallahu a'lam. Question 7. Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. May Allah bless. May Allah give you what is best. Can we use Dead Sea salt or products made from it like soap, body scrubs, etc.? Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. I mean, you as well. I don't see anything wrong with using that. I don't know anything that's impermissible about that. Dead Sea. If there's something wrong with the sea, is the sea cursed because it's called Dead Sea? Or Allahu Alam. Al-Muhim is that a Muslim is allowed to use any product that he or she wants to, as long as it doesn't go against the text of Kitab and Sunnah. Body scrub, shampoo, soap, etc. As long as it's not clashing with the information in the Quran and in the Sunnah. So, b'idhnillahi ta'ala, I don't think there's anything wrong with that, unless there's more detail with regards to the Dead Sea, the salt, this cursed salt. Allahu Alam, la adri. I don't know with regards to that. I don't see anything wrong with it, as long as it isn't something which is against the Quran and the Sunnah. Use whatever type of body scrub you want, as long as it isn't something that's against the Quran and Sunnah, such as matters or products which are unlawful, or something that's directly attached to animal torture or animal cruelty. Directly, we said directly. Okay? And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala surely knows best. I believe that's all of the questions for this session. جزاكم الله خيرا وصلى الله وسلم وبارك